Hello and welcome to another episode of the Real Shots of 56 Evening Crypto. Hope that you are doing great this Monday evening start and beginning of a new week. We just had a closure of the weekly candle yesterday. What does that mean for Bitcoin and the crypto sphere? We also just had a new daily as well, just about an hour and 7 minutes ago. We'll get into the TA side of things with Bitcoin, and we'll get to look at a couple of alts. Try to keep this one short again for your viewing pleasure. I also want to talk about a very insightful sort of script that I found online as to why BAKKT is so important to this industry and what they are doing differently that we currently do not have in this crypto sphere, and that we are definitely lacking. And also, as a result, I do see this particular aspect of that is being said here in this article. There is a very specific aspect that I do think will bring a lot of trust into the crypto that not necessarily is here right now. And again, we are lacking, and that will also drive for more institutional investment into the market. So this could definitely be seen as a onboarding machine or an on-ramp for institutional investors to come into the space, given the offering, given the infrastructure that has been built by BAKKT. We'll get into the specifics of that article and why I think that is huge going forward. So definitely make sure that you stay tuned. And if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and click the notification bell there, the subscribe button, and then the notification bell as well, so you do get these videos and alerts when we do put out the content. All right, let's get into the charts here. Let's first start off with the overall state of the market. We're currently trading at $266 billion for the entire market cap. 60 billion of that, or 60 billion in 24-hour volume. There's been quite a bit of selling and buying. So this volume looks to me as a I guess a very even um, type of volume, right? There's a lot of buyers, a lot of sellers at the same time, and you see the reflected on the price of Bitcoin here and the action. We'll get into that as well. Bitcoin dominance did drop to below 70%. I think this is only momentarily. As the market continues, I do think we are going to see that number tick back up over 70. I also want to take a look at the traditional markets here. In fact, why don't we start with that? Let's look at the SPY, the S&P, and nice run up here from this point, from this. I mean, we touched the bottom here, and then from there we went all the way as high as, what is this right here? So about almost 5% move, from this touch and go here at the bottom of this line of support, and then we almost touched 300. We actually, let's see, the high of this one was 299 and 24 cents, but then we closed the candle at 298.20. So I mean, definitely a nice recovery. Now there's some things being said about this, that the price of the trade wars and quantitative easing, all of that is already priced into the market currently, and thus we are seeing a nice recovery in the S&P and other traditional markets as well. While though it's having an adverse action in gold, so maybe a lot of these fearful buyers over here in traditional markets are saying, okay, it's time to actually put our money back into traditional markets and take it take the money out of gold. So I do see this as sort of a short-term sort of play or strategy. I don't think that the gold rush is actually over. We might get a bounce here, although it does look like it wants to come back and retest the 55 here. We're looking at the daily currently. Although the RSI is looking pretty dreadful right now, trying to get into the bear control area here. And if it does, then I do think we're going to probably see somewhere, at least somewhere in the middle here between the simple 100 and the 55 here. we are going to see gold coming to a stop and then build on that correction. But there is a gap here. Actually, that's not futures. That's not gold futures. So let's not talk about that. So there might be a gap in the gold's futures contracts, but I'm not sure. I'm not. I haven't checked it, so I don't know if there is a gap here. So scratch that. But I do think, again, we could come back and retest the 55 here before actually finding a bounce. And then we'll reassess from there. But if you're into gold, it does look like it has a correction. I would wait to actually get back in it. But yeah, so we do see the inverse reaction. Again, people are trying to, or actually starting to regain that confidence in the traditional markets and trying to get back in them. So not a bad thing there for traditional markets and investors. Let's actually look at Bitcoin now. If you want me to look at something else, definitely leave it down in the comments. I'll be more than happy to get to it. All right, let's stretch this out a bit so we can, and let's actually clean our chart here a little bit more. I also want to get rid of these guys. There we go. All right, so tell me what you guys see. Tell me what you guys see. I'm going to highlight this area here. Do you guys see anything there? Surprisingly, nobody's been talking about this. This sort of looks to me like an inverse head and shoulders. Say what you say, but it does look like it. Actually, let's do a better job at highlighting this. All right, so this price action right here kind of resembles an inverse head and shoulders, which would imply that we are going to tick up. But again, it's sort of a messed up head and shoulders. I mean, the RSI is certainly kind of telling of that. Just not the right signature there, and so not really. I'm not too convinced, but I mean, there's enough of a formation there to mention it. So I kind of, I definitely want to bring that up now. Not saying that that's what's happening, but it does definitely look like it. That might be what's going on. Actually, I need to clean this back up again just for a minute. Because we do want to put a measure move on this. So if this actually plays out, this is kind of what we'd be looking at right here. Right, so here's kind of where the move would be pointing at, 11,400. If that is the case, now here's why I don't think we're going to do that. I don't think we're done. I don't think we're necessarily done with this formation here, the macro trend. This sort of falling symmetrical wedge, even wedge, whatever you want to call it. I don't know if we're ready to go ahead and move past it and actually make a decisive move, whether we break out or break down. However, let's not ignore what's going on here. I do want to address it and say that, hey, this could possibly be the move, right? This based on this sort of inverse head and shoulders, and again, it would be pointing to about 11.4, right? Now, there is plenty of resistance on the way up or on the way out of this formation, with this huge area of resistance coming all the way back to June 26th, right, when we had that big massive move to almost 14,000. That's where the trend started. So if it does move above this line and you want to play a breakout, sort of a safer move, once we get out of this line here at, call it 10,800, would be a safe bet that we do move up to to the 11, what did we say here, 11.4, which would be another 5% move to the upside. Not a bad day. Now it doesn't mean that it's going to happen in one day. I mean, we could be here finishing out this move for several days, maybe a week or so. So don't expect this, if it actually plays out, don't expect that to happen in one day. All right. And again, if you want to play the breakout move, then your eye should be on 10.8 area, 10,800. All right. So we'll leave that here just to see if that actually plays out. I also want to look at the shorter time frames because that is telling of a different story. Now, I will say this before we move on to shorter time frames. I will say this. Definitely looking like it's resting above every major moving average on a daily. And I mean, that is bullish as you can get, right? We've said this here in this channel several times. Um, Whenever you see this, the 30 is actually the 30 is actually kind of dominating the price action currently. It's just applying some downward pressure here. You can barely see that red line on top of the candle there. It's definitely applying that sell pressure. If we get above it, I do think we're going to have a easier time rallying to the upside. But at this current moment, it looks like the indecision, right? But the posture looks bullish. I mean, we're above every major moving average. So, and that's on a daily too. So it is a significant candle here as far as the length of time. So that's where I'm also really vigilant. I'm really going to keep an eye on this to see where or how it resolves, whether it actually busts through the 30 simple and start testing these prior wicks up here. This candle also here represents a kind of looks like a hammer. Kind of looks like a hammer, not quite, but I mean it could be an indication of reversal. Now, if we can get above the 30 here and start building some momentum to the upside, this could definitely mean this could give us the confirmation that we're looking for, that it's actually going to break to the upside. So pay attention to this. Again, this is another daily candle. This is a long-legged doji candle here, which again on a downtrend, at the bottom of a downtrend, can definitely mean reversal, followed by a very similar doji type sort of hammer candle as well. So there's two side by side, usually meaning reversal, right? And then with the head and shoulders formation here as well on the inverse, could also mean that we resolve to the upside. So I'm definitely being very careful because there are some signs that are sort of telling us that we might break out of this formation, and it might actually be true. But then there's some other things on the lower sides, on the lower time frames, that are kind of telling of a different story. RSI on the daily is looking pretty neutral. We did have it tick across to the downside here, but then it's looking like it actually wants to regain that exponential and not really come back and retest the 21 here in the middle. So we could potentially see it, especially if we break out above the 30 here. It would be not free skies, but definitely less resistance to the upside. All right. So hopefully you guys are understanding all that I'm throwing at you. If you don't, leave it down in the comments. We can discuss further and talk about that. All right. If we do break down, let's talk about the bearish scenario. If we do break down, I mean, there's, like I said, this is definitely looking more of a bullish case on the daily than that. So if we do break down, there's plenty of resistance. Now we do have a lot of confluence here with all of these moving averages. Last time we saw that, let's go back actually and check that out. Anytime we do see the coiling of all of these moving averages coming together, the last time we saw that, we were on the downside on the wrong side of these moving averages back here, back in November of 2018, middle of November 2018. We were on the wrong side of these moving averages, and so the pressure was surmounting, and just massive pressure to the downside. And we do see the huge final breakdown that took us to the 2018 bear market low. All right, so that can definitely be a big indication, right? And then we coiled, but then again we coiled on the right side of all this price action here, right? And then from there we just gathered quite a bit of momentum and started separating from these moving averages. We do see here the separation of all of these moving averages, and look at here now, we're starting to coil again here. Consolidation. I mean, this all has been a big, huge consolidation, and we do see it here with a lot of these moving averages converging in the same area. So, I mean, it does look like we need a little bit more consolidation before all of these really come together. I mean, the 200 is always, having some sort of separation, but look at, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moving averages converging. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 moving averages converging here in this overall in this general area. So again, we might take a few more days before we actually see everything coil back into place, and then it looks like it does look like we're on the right side of price action. So we could definitely see a nice bounce off of that area and hopefully gain momentum. Now, are we going to play out this head and shoulders move? That's good. That's definitely in the cards. Let's keep an eye on that and see where we end up. All right, a lot of information, I know. So again, if I'm confusing you or if you're not getting this, definitely leave it down in the comments. We'll definitely chat about it. All right, let's actually look at. Let's go up the list here. Let's look at what XRP is doing. Recently, I had to restart my computer, and a lot of these lines actually went away. So I do have some reference points for you guys on past videos. I did have the next area of support for you guys on here was looking like 19 cents. If I remember correctly, we were right around this area here, being the next area of support if we do break down from the current area we are at right now. Oh, there it is. Never mind. I thought I had lost my oh gosh, sometimes I do stupid things. All right, so there they are. And in fact, yeah, I mean, pretty much dead on, right? All right. Okay, so expected moves going forward. If we do break out, like we said, unfortunately, XRP is looking like it has a lot of work to do to actually regain some of its previous lows. And that's what I'm talking about when we're talking about alt season and, alts coming back. Once we do have a bounce, we're going to come back and really just, we're going to be retesting resistance on prior lows. I hope that you get that message. I hope that you're getting what I'm saying, because it's definitely meaningful. We're coming to retest prior lows. I mean, that just tells you that we're obviously Captain Obvious over here. We're obviously below some even just super low levels in price. So that just means that again, we're putting all this work in just to get back above prior lows, right? So the alts have gotten hit very harshly in this 2019. I mean, yeah, we did have a run to the upside. I mean, if we're looking at back in May, XRP did have sort of a nice run. Let's try it out here. Let's be generous and try this bottom here to this top, about 76%. While Bitcoin was doing 300%, almost not 300%, 200%, 200 to 300%, somewhere in between. Litecoin was doing another 200% to the upside in 2019. XRP really only doing about 75, 76%. And a lot of these altcoins are guilty of the same thing. Not really following in those big, huge run-ups in price with Bitcoin and Litecoin. BNB definitely had a nice show in 2019. Let's actually put a measured move here from this low to this high. 788% run in since December 2018, right? All right, let's be fair. Let's do May. Oh, that's January. All right, so all right, where are we gonna start? All right, so from this bottom here, 110%. All right, but overall, I mean, this move is just insane, right? 788%. That kind of resembles Bitcoin. I mean, there was probably no other alt that you know, did something similar to 788% run up, and we're still within this macro trend, guys. We're still within this macro trend. It does look like it's lost plenty of its luster. BNB has, and it's just struggling here in this area, just consolidating down in the lower end of the range, not really coming back to retest. So that is a bit worrying for me, because Bitcoin has been, you know, from the high to the low to the high to the low. I mean, retesting every line, right? Retesting resistance, retesting support, back and forth, all the way through, and then we see BNB just kind of losing momentum here and just consolidating in this lower end of the range. So I would like to see BNB come back and retest this prior area of resistance if we want to start getting, you know, a little bit more bullish on BNB. As of right now, not really worth trading. I mean, look at the sort of price action from here. Can we say it's sort of building a bear flag? Yeah, definitely, sort of a bear flag here. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't think I want to trade this right now. It's not looking very good. It's below all of these moving averages, so there's plenty of pressure onto the upside if it wants to come back and retest resistance up here. Um, and then we have the 377 coming in right below. It's, you know, you can say that it's been trading within this channel here, but within the 200 and at 377. But it just looks like consolidation here in the middle. Not much going on there. All right, let's look at Link real quick. Kind of doing the same thing, right? We see this sort of like bear flag forming as well. So Link again losing a lot of its luster from earlier on in 2019. Same as, you know, again, guilty as, I mean, just about every other altcoin out there, you know. So altcoin season, not happening. I mean, this isn't indicative of a altcoin season here. Litecoin, pretty much the same, right? Same as every other. Now, here's the scary part. We did lose this previous area of support here. We actually abandoned this formation here, and we definitely came back and retested 61. If you want to look back at previous videos, I did call for this bottom here at 61.87. I told you guys that we were going to visit that price range, and we did. We broke down from this formation here. Doesn't look like we're trying to regain it. So Litecoin, I mean, just looking weak. It has a lot of work to do to get back into, you know, this formation if it wants to actually, you know, start getting a little bit more bullish and start regaining a lot of that market sentiment, market confidence. I mean, definitely would have to get above $78 if it wants to, again, regain public trust, if you will. Although the RSI on the daily is looking pretty bullish. Did get above the 21 EMA here and is looking to retest the bullish control area there. So we'll see. We'll just have to wait a little bit longer. But as of right now, it doesn't look like, you know, it wants to come back and retest this previous area of support. Now is going to it's going to be acting as huge resistance, as it is a line of resistance that's coming way back from April, right? So several months here worth of support has now turned into resistance. All right, so maybe some more sideways trading. However, it does look like it's sort of forming a widening wedge in an upward formation. So it does kind of look like a bear flag again. All right, that's what a lot of altcoins are doing. All right, let's take a look at Ethereum. Same thing, same exact thing we just talked about with Litecoin. It did break this area of support down here. Actually, right there, break down, and it doesn't look like it wants to regain it, right? I mean, it's actually going to have to put in a lot more work than Litecoin is to come back and retest this previous area of support. Now, trading below a lot of these moving averages, and although the RSI is pointing up, it is up against a line of resistance here at 184, and we do see it failing at the current moment. It's going to take a nice run up on Bitcoin's part for us to be able to see this turn to the upside. All right, so it's going to, and you know, if you are betting on Ethereum, maybe Litecoin or any of these alts, you're definitely praying for a nice Bitcoin pump. I certainly am, but I'm not in altcoins right now. All right, let's just take a look at ADA real quick. Look, it's actually being picked up here before touching this previous area of support here at 39 cents or 3.9 cents. Actually having a nice reaction right in here. Let's actually draw a line of support right here. Change the color. We like to keep things color coordinated here so you guys can easily tell what's going on. Yeah, so definitely needs to put a lot of work here if it wants to, you know, regain a more bullish momentum, more bullish posture, I want to say. But I mean, just trading almost below every single moving average here, which you know should be pulling the price upward, really. But you know, there's just not enough buyers to do all that work. All right, so I'm going to leave it there for all of the TA side of things, and now let's get into why I think BAKKT is something that is bringing something that this industry is definitely lacking. Before we move on, though, make sure you hit the like button, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and you know, that way you get notifications when we put out this content. Let's move on. But also, if you want me to take a look at anything else, definitely let me know down in the comments. I want to get into this article here because it does a good job at really describing what the difference here is, why this is so important here. So definitely want to talk about this here. So at BAKKT, actually no, we want to start right here. Our first solution, as many who followed BAKKT now know, is a physical delivery Bitcoin future. This contract will be traded on ICE Futures US IFIS and cleared on ICE Clear US ICES, a federally regulated exchange and clearinghouse regulated by the CFTC. Bitcoin delivered upon contract settlement will be stored by BAKKT. To provide regulated custody, we have filed with the New York Department of Financial Services for approval to become a trust company and in this capacity serve as a qualified custodian for digital assets. This structure will provide the first end-to-end regulated environment for price discovery of crypto. Bitcoin will be stored at a regulated custodian and traded and cleared on a federally regulated exchange and clearinghouse, which we didn't have before. We don't have this currently. This means investors will have access to the same high performance, low latency exchange and clearing infrastructure that powers many of the world's most liquid futures markets. We're going to be trading with the highest of the highest, with the best of the best. We believe that end-to-end regulation paired with reliable infrastructure will unlock greater institutional participation, what I was telling you guys, and as a result establish more liquid, fair, and efficient markets for this emerging asset class. I mean, now we're talking. Now we're trading in the same type of infrastructure that the big dogs are trading. So no more of this wild west. No more of this, you know, unregulated sort of aspect to the market. Now we have a fine, legitimate place where you can trade futures contracts for Bitcoin. And not only that, as we said, because they are physically settled, people have to buy the underlying product, which means more and more hodling of Bitcoin, which can only help to steady the price. And you know, maybe some speculators are not going to like it, but you know, as BAKKT needs and builds on their infrastructure and builds on the clientele and are having to stock and restock more and more Bitcoin, that just means that there's going to be more Bitcoin locked in a custody solution. As they're saying in this article, they are going to keep a lot of that in cold storage. So we also intend to build products that drive greater adoption of the technology itself by understanding and applying the attributes that make public blockchains unique. BAKKT will launch products that solve real problems for the real world. We're starting with one of the most well-known applications of public blockchains, value transfer, to enable faster, less costly, and more efficient payment for companies like Starbucks. The safe and secure storage of digital assets is fundamental to this product too. In order to launch these products, we spent 2 years developing a custody solution from the ground up. BAKKT leverages the same institutional grade hardware, operational controls, and cybersecurity systems that Intercontinental Exchange ICE uses to manage all 13 of its regulated exchanges worldwide, including the New York Stock Exchange. So again, we're in the hands of the almighty ICE, the company that owns 13 different regulated exchanges across the world. That's what we're dealing with. While we've leveraged ICE expertise developing and operating institutional grade products, we've also tailored our custody offering to protect against risk unique to the crypto space. Great. Now here's another token that symbolizes that we're on a new stage going forward. BAKKT uses both warm online and cold offline wallet architecture to secure customer funds. The majority of assets are stored offline in air-gapped control wallets that are insured with $100 million policy underwritten by leading global insurance carriers. Something again that is non-existent here in the crypto sphere. I mean, you could make a case for Binance having a SAFU fund that works as sort of an insurance policy. However, it's not the same thing. It's similar in what they are trying to accomplish. However, from a infrastructure standpoint, it is not the same thing. This is again a legit. This is a professional setting that we're now going to be entering with BAKKT. All right, and this is again the piece that will give a lot of institutional investors the peace of mind that they need or wanted to get into these markets and start trading futures contracts. Again, that's what the traditional investors, the institutional investor is looking for. Are my funds are going to be safe in case of a breach or anything like that, right? So both wallet architectures employ on-chain and off-chain security measures to safeguard cryptographic keys, including the enforcement of multi-signature controls. Customer funds are also protected by layers of automated controls, including multi-factor authentication, destination address, whitelisting, and role-based permissions. And lastly, BAKKT uses FIPS 142 level 3 or higher hardware security modules, HSM, to manage and secure its warm wallet cryptographic keys. The physical and logical attributes of HSM prevent the viewing, modification, or extraction of private key material. All cold wallet cryptographic keys are encrypted, shared, and are geographically distributed in an M of N architecture. Private keys are never transferred across any open unencrypted communication channel, and access is protected by a firewall and other network layer security controls. It also names that it's going to be physically monitored. There is going to be a room full of call it nodes, or call it here, why don't we actually read this part here. Facility additional BAKKT is working closely on BYM Mellon to offer geographically distributed storage for private keys secured by the bank. BYM Mellon has a long-standing history of safeguarding the assets of institutional clients such as fund asset manager and broker dealer. Okay, so I forgot where this part goes. There is going to be a server control room, a physically monitored, physically secured I mean, like there's going to be security around this room where they keep um, all of the servers working for BAKKT. These server rooms are going to be dispersed in different places. It doesn't name where geographically, but there are going to be several of these rooms apparently distributed certainly within the U.S., maybe outside of the U.S., and they are again going to be um, secured by actual security staff. Right, so not everyone's going to have access to that room, including employees. Employees will also not have, you know, readily available access to these server rooms. Right, so they are keeping a very tight operation there. So I just went over all of the reasons why I think this is such a great contribution to the crypto sphere. Hopefully you agree. If not, let me know why. I know there's some crypto romantics out there that are saying that we are handing the crypto value back over to centralized traditional markets people who we are fighting against with the ownership of Bitcoin, right? It's a fair statement as well, but overall, I do think if we want mass adoption, if we want the big boys to come in and play in this sandlot, then this is the sort of thing that we need, because ultimately it benefits everybody long term. That's what I think. Let me know what you guys think down at the bottom. Um, and yeah, don't forget to like the video. And if you have any other questions or anything you guys want me to cover, definitely leave it down below. As I said, down in the comments, you can read the full story at my Twitter account at the Real Shot 256 at Twitter. Go over there and let me know that you are following as well. I will follow back, and let's chat it up. All right, guys, that's it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. We'll see you on the next one. Hope you have a great evening. Thanks.